Ah, look at that. Love that. The lighting. Such a mood.
いわゆる霜焼け。もう少しで凍傷になるところだったわね。
バッカニアとかいうやつのオートメールは
おい
違うのか。
ダメだ先生、この頭絡まって取れ。僕の頭。
試行錯誤の結果生み出されたのがジュラルミン、炭素繊維、ニッケル、銅などを組み合わせたオートメール。
No iron.
普通に手だと思ってた。道理で破壊できねえはずだ。
銀時計持ってるって。
Is he gonna believe it?
こんなのが少佐相当感？
専属の技師は
ラッシュバレーにいるよ。
客が北国に来るってのに説明も付け替えもなし。
About that.
ああ、いや、北に来るって話してなかったから。
死にたくなければ出張してでも付け替えてもらうことね。
Oh man.
あの女将軍、人の話も聞かんで俺のアンテナをむしるだなだった。呼んだか、赤シビ。なんだ、文句があるならさっさと言え。
Ice Queen, yeah. Sounds about right.
さて、お前たち弟のアレックスと親しくしていると聞いた。
Oh man.
奴は元気か？ああ、
相変わらず筋肉もりもり。
元気いっぱいですよ。その鎧が空っぽな理由も包み隠さずすべて。なるべく人に聞かれたくない話なんだけど。
She trusts them?
気にすることないわよ。ここのメンツは訳ありが多いもの。人に聞かれたくない話なんて珍しくもないわね。
話さないと許してくれないと思うよ。
でもウィンリーが人質なんだ。あ、よし、大総統やホムンクルスのことは言わない方向でいい。
It's that guy.
話してる。さっさとせんか。
じゃあ、あくまで元の体に戻るための旅ってことで。
じゃあ協力してくれる？貴様らが深く物事を考えず迂闊な行動で騒ぎを広げる粗骨者であることは分かった。そんなものを私の城に置きたくない。
Citadel.
さっさと出ていけ。
Interesting.
と言いたいところだが、練炭術には興味がある。貴様ら、その練炭術の娘とは知り合いなのだな？
ええ、まあ。
この国にはない技術だ。欲しい。技術はいくらあってもいいものだ。特にドラクマという大国と接しているこの地ではな、使い方によっては練炭術も良い武器になりそうだ。
ちょっと待ってください。
やかましい。国の内側でキャンキャン吠えるだけの犬めが。貴様らの生活の安寧は国境を守る者あってこそだということを忘れるな。北の国境線は私が引く。その力になるならどんな技術でもいただく。貴様らは要塞を出るな。それとマイルズ少佐、こいつらを働かせろ。働かざる者食うべからずだ。
ごもっとも。
Okay.
なかなかハードな経歴を持つ奴らですな。
そこそこ修羅離れしていそうだが、中身はまだアマちゃんだということがよく分かった。我々には話せない秘密があるということもな。
She's good. She's good. Go on.
なあ、仕事って何させられるんだよ。ここの
Not much of a talker, is he?
なのが多いって言ってたけど、あんたも何かあるのか？
知りたいか？
Oh, yes.
なぜだ？イシュバール出身の軍人は殲滅戦の前に粛清されたって。
私には確かにイシュバール人の血が流れている。
He sounds familiar.
祖母、父、ちなみに妻も違う民族だ。
Okay.
この肌と目の色は祖父の血が濃く出ている。我が先祖の地イシュバールでは随分やってくれたな。
Your people.
イシュバール人こそうちの田舎を焼いてくれたり、俺たちの幼馴染の両親をよくも殺してくれたな。
ちょっと兄さん。
Okay, he's not backing down. He's not backing down.
すまない。そういう切り返し方をしてきたやつは初めてだったからね。
Good.
俺を試したな。
いや、失礼。あの内乱の後、やたら哀れみの目で見られることが多くてね。正直うんざりしてたんだ。 だが君は違った。
Because they know that feeling.
イシュバール人に
They don't want pity.
狙われたり誘拐されそうになったり和解したりこういう付き合いしてっからな。人と人なら民族を
There you
超えて
go.
対等に話し合えるはずだ。
I like you, boy. Yeah. Talk it out, talk it out.
ここに赴任してすぐ殲滅戦が始まり、祖父をはじめイシュバール人の親族は
Ooh,
東
that
の
must
地
have
で
been
殺
tough
さ
for
れ
him
た。
then to be here.
私は軍の粛清規約にわずかに外れていて助かった。
軍を憎んだりしなかったのか。
君は本当に何でも聞くんだな。
無知な自分が嫌なんだ。気に障ったんなら謝る。
国家錬金術師が無知ねえ。イシュバールの血を引く私がいることで、ここにいる兵たちの間に波風が立つかもしれない。だのになぜ追放しないのか。
ここブリッグズは何があっても落とされてはならない。
She doesn't care about
末
race.
端の兵一人一人が主である私の意志のもと
She cares about how you can help.
かつ柔軟にそれでいて何事にも動じない屈強な一軍であらねばならない。つまり差別などやってる暇はない。貴様の中に流れる多様な民族の血は多様な価値観で様々な角度からこの国を見ることができる。生まれも
Spot on.
育ちもアメストリス人である私が上に立つ
She
に
needs to
は
learn all
貴様
kinds
のようなもの
of
が必要だ。
perspectives.
しのごの言わずついてこ
Now
い。
shut up and follow me. Hell yeah. Oh yes.
ここの掟を知っているか。
弱肉強食だっけ。
そうだ。力なき者は死に、力ある者は生き残る。そこには下っ端もボスも人種も民族も男女の違いもない。これも弱肉強食。君が運が強いものだったから生き残った。これが終わったら中を案内するよう部下に言っておこう。
That looks beautiful. The shading on that, the lighting.
あれまさか
Oh yes, Ramen.
なんでここにいるんだよ。
Whoa.
要塞内の生活ラインがここに集まっている。要塞上部が攻撃されても地下にあるこの心臓部はへでもないのさ。
But what if?
ほら邪魔だどけ。ふらふら歩いてんなよ。
これ地下からだよ。何
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what if you get attacked down here?
掘ってるような。
Oh my god! It's Sloth! He's here!
臭くて死にそうだ。
Holy shit!
死ぬのもめんどくせえ。
So he was here in that quick flash they showed. Or close. Jeez. Okay.
ゾルフ・ジェイ・キンブリー。
ここに来る貨物列車で重傷を負い、麓の病院に収容されたそうです。
Zoro's
ブリッ
voice!
グズ支部で全面協力してくれと釈放されたそうです。大総統の命令で。
気に入らんな。
Oh.
ホムンクルス。
It's a unique design.
俺たちがホムンクルスに対抗する方法を探しに来たこと、お見通しかよ。
No, he's been at it for some time. Ah, of course. Maybe you should let him fall asleep.
セントラルのお父様から話は聞いてんだろ。
そう僕たちただ元の体に戻る方法を探しに来ただけで。
お前ら
I think he's quite disconnected from it all. Oh, that looks great. Look at that. But he's not even really... He's just doing his thing. He's not looking at anyone as an enemy or anything. Oh, jeez. Ooh, okay, okay. It moved him a bit, but I don't think that's enough. Okay. Now they'll see this.
痛いのもめんどくせえ。
Pain is also a bother.
穴掘る。
He also kind of reminds me of Gluttony. Okay, now at least Olivier and the crew get to see this, right? Wow. She's so attractive.
死なないってまなぜあれのことを知っているドラクマの密偵か違うではあれは密偵か多分違うあれはお前を知っているか多分知らないあれの正体は何だ
This he can answer, right?
答えられない
Ah,
あれは誰の命令で動いている答えられないんだ
she's always kind of
最後の質問だ貴様ら我々の
depicted from a low angle, right?
ここの人たちがやられるのは見たくないばっかにゃ戦車用の燃料を持ってこい奴に浴びせるだから無駄だ将軍あいつを火をつけても簡単には殺せんのは先の攻撃でよく分かっているならば機能停止させてやるだけだ火炎よりもきついのを食らわせてやるブリッグズ流を見せてやる
Whoa! Oh, it's gonna end. You know, this anime really does have a knack for effective cliffhangers. It really does. I mean, they have the formula down, and they get you every single time. They really do. And yeah, it's a great ending. Really great ending. It's a great episode. It really is. I'm really loving this North arc so far. Everything about it, the location. I mean, the location it's such a mood, isn't it? Right? I know maybe that's a bit of a strange thing to say about something that appears to be so harsh, and it is. It is. And Ed and Al find out really quick how ill-prepared they are for this, right? And of course, some of these people have a bit of a go at them, right? Because they're a little bit perplexed or baffled, you know, be it Olivier, be it the doctor, that, you know, they're not really ready for this place. They have to adapt quick. And I love that aspect of this. You know, it's not as simple as, okay, you pick Ed and Al from one place, one location, and put them into another, and it's as if nothing is going to be different. They'll just be able to kind of exist and manage. No, right? This really adds to the world building of this anime as well, of this story, right? That these characters have to adapt. And then, of course, the characters. I mean, here you have another set of really interesting and unique characters that have their own backstories, they have their own struggles, and these characters, you can already tell, right? Be it Olivier, be it the really, really interesting and cool Miles, the Ishwalan, or part Ishwalan, right? He's mixed. Buccaneer is cool as well, but, you know, Miles specifically, really interesting character to have. You know, to have an Ishwalan be a part of the military. Now, apparently it was a common thing before the Purge. You know, I mean, how horrible is that? Just the sound of that. You know, he's explaining that and I'm thinking, Jesus. But yeah, it continues to have such a fantastic supporting cast. And you see there's a few more change agents. Again, Olivier, Miles. You know, it's great for Ed and Al to be out here, to be experiencing these things, to be coming across a lot of these really unique individuals. I mean, listen, the Ice Queen, that title, that moniker, the title of the episode, it is just perfect. It is, right? You know, it's a perfect moniker, the perfect description, the perfect title for Olivier Mira Armstrong. I mean, that is some character, man. That, you know, she is ice cold through and through. And I love that about her, right? Pragmatic, of course. You know, she continues to be pragmatic in her approach. You know, you see that she doesn't have time for superfluous conversations or, you know, small talk. None of that. You know, it feels like every single moment is a deliberate use of her time and her position to kind of reinforce Briggs, right? Prepare Briggs as best as she can, and defend Briggs as best as she can. And she really is quite the tremendous leader. You could just see how she rose up the ranks, right? It's all right there. So impressive, right? I'll come back to Olivier. Yeah, I have a few more things to say about Olivier. And it's kind of in relation to that scene, quite a poignant scene, right? Miles and Ed, and the big revelation, you know, him taking the glasses off, and the conversation that kind of takes place after that, or because of that as well, or because of something Miles said, right? It's quite a calculated approach by Miles to, as Ed kind of figured out, to kind of test him as well. And of course, Miles liked Ed's response. But again, he liked it for the most part, for sure. But he also gives him a different perspective. And Ed, of course, you have to give him so much credit. He is quite mature and he understands some of his shortcomings, perhaps. He understands that he's still quite ignorant of so many things. And you see that he's actively making an effort to kind of learn as much as he can, to understand as much as he can about others and other places and the differences they might have and, the different experiences they might have had, or how certain things shaped others differently, right? I'll get into all of that, but let's kind of focus on the ending there because, you see Olivier, she's implying that they're going to hit the big homie Sloth, finally kind of in the spotlight. And, essentially Sloth and Sloth's disposition is as you would expect it to be. But Olivier's idea of hitting it with something even stronger than fire, right? Show it how things are really run here in Briggs, or how things really are in Briggs. You look at the title. She's the Ice Queen, essentially, right? They're going to try and freeze the big homie somehow. But yeah, if that is the case, let's see. Let's see if that is effective against Sloth, who has been really quite untouchable. Really, everything else is really quite ineffective against Sloth. But yeah, Sloth appears to be something similar to a Snorlax, right? Hulk. Juggernaut, Bane, even actually appears to be a bit of a gentle giant because it doesn't care about any of these people. It's kind of just focused on the one instruction, right? Dig. Have to keep digging. Dig, dig, dig. Who knows how long he's been at it? I'm guessing it's been quite a long time, right? It's not a short time. At the least, it's been a few months, though I expect it to be much longer than that. Because I think, this task that he's been assigned, I think this might have something to do with the hypothesis that Dr. Marco kind of puts out there, right? In his captivity. He was close, as confirmed by Envy. He was close, right? And also the late, great Maze Hughes kind of had it all figured out, didn't he? And unfortunately, he got killed for it. So yeah, I do think this might be close to Dr. Marco's hypothesis, right? About a transmutation circle that is kind of large enough for the entire country, right? As of that point, I kind of just assumed, okay, it's like a surface level thing, right? Significant points or something, but it appears that it's actually an underground thing, or, this underground aspect is really quite important to it all. So yeah, Sloth has been at it. By some coincidence, he also ends up kind of digging through at the exact same time, or in the exact same time frame Ed and Al happen to be there. And then, of course, beyond that, you have a few other parties that can be a part of this arc, right? You have Kimberly, who they confirmed is now admitted at the base of the mountain, right? And then you also have Mei Chang and Dr. Marco and Scar and Yoki at some point, perhaps. So you have a lot of the different players around for this arc as well. And then, of course, you have one of the Sins pop up as well at just the right moment, right? It's quite the coincidence. Sometimes you kind of have to allow it. But, going back to Sloth and it all almost appearing as a gentle giant, maybe I should hold that. Maybe I'll get to see its true nature soon enough, maybe, right? Or maybe this is it. Who knows? I'll find out soon enough. But that leaves just the one now. I mean, I guess I didn't really see a physical form for Pride, but yeah, that's the only one that I still need to see now. Father's Pride, right? Or is it also Father's Pride and Joy, right? Because those usually go together. They go hand in hand, don't they? But the fact that it's essentially the last sin that has to be showcased at this point, physically at least, that alone should tell you that, okay, it's clearly a prominent character as well to the story. But a thing I really appreciate about these characters that are the Sins is that, a lot of times they'll kind of behave or function in a manner that is contrasting to the sin they are representing, essentially, right? Or they behave ironically, or they act ironically sometimes. You see it through King Bradley or Wrath, right? Really calm and collected, composed, always in control, It'll be interesting to see at some point if Wrath does actually full on just, unleash the fury, right? And I'm not speaking of him just in like action, because yeah, he's damn impressive. I'm speaking of him actually, showcasing wrath. And then of course there's Lust as well, right? Who had a distinct business before pleasure approach at times, right? So I love that unique approach. I've said it before a few times. I really enjoy these characters that are the sins. I really do. And Sloth even kind of reminds me of Gluttony. And I mentioned some time ago that this actually feels like a JRPG, right? It continues here, doesn't it? You come to this fantastic new location full of great new characters, and then you even have a boss fight. You've got Sloth, and you've got all of them kind of trying to take out Sloth. And in that sense, it's good that the people there get to see Ed and Al in action and get to see them actively trying to fight and also protect. Of course, people like Buccaneer, people like Miles, and of course Olivier herself get to see this, right? That being said, I don't think it's about to be smooth sailing or anything. I think Olivier is going to grill them after this for sure, even more than before, right? Because this is her base, this is her citadel, as she put it. And these boys that she doesn't seem to trust just yet, and she's right to not trust them, just like how Ed and Al are right to not trust Olivier and some of these people around here. Listen, he just recently found out about the upper echelon of the military being corrupt, being in on it, right? So he doesn't know enough about Olivier yet to be speaking of those things openly. And even if he does, it's not just a matter of trusting her. It's also a matter of his loved ones being hostages, right? He doesn't want to risk anything. But I think as this arc kind of goes on, they'll begin to kind of have that trust. And I think the reintroduction of Fallman, of course, it was lovely to see Fallman. I can kind of see Fallman being a bit of a link as well. But that being said, as they've already established, Olivier doesn't really care much for the things others have to say about someone, right? That's why I also think, it's important that she saw them in action and doing these things, right? Actively defending and protecting. But, in terms of ignoring things others have to say about people and forming her own opinions, she brings up Alex, right? She ripped up that letter in the last episode and all that. But yeah, she brings up her brother, and her response or her reaction to Ed and Al's response is really quite interesting, isn't it? Is that jealousy? Is that just resentment? I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? Maybe a bit of a rivalry going on, siblings. And also, I think it could be interesting if I get to know her opinion of Alex and Ishwal specifically, right? How he handled Ishwal could be interesting. Let's see. I'm hoping this kind of plays on for a few more episodes, this arc in the North. I'm sure I can get at least a few more out of this arc, right? Like I mentioned, Kimberly and, Scar and that whole aspect of it still kind of has to take off in the North. But let me take it back to Miles and Ed, because it is one of the standout moments of the episode, isn't it? I think it's actually an important moment for Ed, an important learning moment as well. Now, you see Ed's response. Yes, of course, Miles certainly appreciated that it's now one of pity, that he's so used to and so done with at this point, right? He liked Ed's approach to this. But then, of course, Ed's response about getting over the racial barrier or, getting over race so they could talk to each other as equals. Yes, the intention there, it's a good intention from that perspective, from Ed's perspective. It's understandable, but it's also a little bit naive, right? As he admits himself, right? He's still learning, he's still a bit ignorant. And I thought it was interesting, Miles's reaction to, the state alchemist admitting to be ignorant. He can't help but smile about the notion of an ignorant state alchemist, right? That feels like such a foreign concept to him, because of the reputation that the state alchemists have at this point and the things they've been a part of, right? The genocide. So, the concept of an ignorant state alchemist, it is an interesting one, isn't it? Because even if Ed didn't, and I think I brought this point up before once, even if Ed didn't do anything in Ishwal, he still signed up for this branch of the military, right? He's still a state alchemist, right? So, that title carries a lot. But then you also get a different perspective through Miles's perfectly timed anecdote for Ed. And also because of this, you get some solid characterization for Olivier, right? You see that this is someone who understands that iron sharpens iron, right? I believe the line of dialogue was, there's no time for discrimination. No, none of that nonsense. And I think that flashback also showcases a lot of her distinct qualities as a leader, as such an effective leader, as such a respected leader, right? She understands that it's crucial to have these different perspectives for her own growth as a leader, right? That she requires this. And, because of all of this, Ed also gets to see that it's actually for that exact reason, Miles being different, that he is someone that Olivier is able to respect and kind of use on her team, right? She understands the mutual benefits of having someone who can kind of help her, through his unique and different perspectives. So I think it's a really great scene. It's a really important scene of the episode of the anime for Ed's growth as well. And you see that Olivier is always looking towards strategic enrichment, right? Alcahestry comes up and she just shuts down Al's retorts about, it's meant to be this medical, alchemy. She doesn't care about any of that, that's her. She has a totally different type of job over here. And you see that she's under her, that a lot of this tech is being developed as well, right? So she's always thinking about the next move, always thinking about how to best prepare Briggs. And also it'll be interesting to see if Drachma actually ends up playing a part at some point. It appears to be, their take on Russia or the Soviet Union, perhaps. So yeah, let's see if that plays a part. Once again, it was really reminding me of The Wall from A Song of Ice and Fire. A lot of the same types of elements and character dynamics going on there, right? So yeah, I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know if there is some inspiration there. No, it's not just exclusive. This type of concept isn't just exclusive to A Song of Ice and Fire, but it does remind me of it a lot. And also, lastly, I thought a really nice detail was to kind of see Ed's scar above his right eyebrow. He got that from Slicer, didn't he? So I like that it's still there. It's kind of like scar tissue. So I like that touch. Great little detail to have, if indeed it is that scar from Slicer. But yeah, I think that might do it for this one, folks. If you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments. Give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access or perhaps full length, consider checking out the Patreon page. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Till then, take it easy.